Yes people, what is going on? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Now I am going to try and do daily videos for you. It's probably not going to work. I'm going to give it my best though. Today's video is 5 things we've learned from this season. It's been a bit of a mad one. Obviously last season ends with Chelsea in Baku beating Arsenal 4-1. We lose our main man Eden Hazard. We obviously know we've got hit by a transfer ban. That transfer ban then gets overturned. We still don't sign anyone in January. And of course there's this thing called coronavirus, this global pandemic. Don't know if you've heard about it. Either way, it's been mad. But from a Chelsea point of view, it's actually been quite a good season. There's a lot of positives to take from it, and we're going to go through some of them now, and of course the 5 things we've learned. The season properly starts with a 4-0 loss at Man United, which of course was gutting, but actually we played some decent football. Decent performance again then against Liverpool. Unfortunately it was another loss in Istanbul in the Super Cup, but then Chelsea start to build from there. Tammy ends up getting himself in some sort of goal scoring form. He's actually in the race, and I believe at one point leading the race for the Golden Boot. We had a bit of a tough time in the Champions League group against 3 very decent teams. We finished second in the Champions League group behind Valencia and somehow managed to knock out Ajax, getting a win away and a 4-4 draw at home, which was absolutely emphatic. Jose goes to Tottenham in a very odd chain of events. We managed to beat them twice in the space of a couple of months. We also managed to beat Arsenal just after Christmas and then stupidly draw with them at home after David got sent off, giving away a penalty against Tammy Abraham. And then of course the lockdown kicks in just after we've beaten Liverpool in the FA Cup, knocked them out. So after lockdown we managed to qualify for top 4. We reached the FA Cup final beating Leicester and Man United on the way, and unfortunately losing to Arsenal at the weekend. But it's been a bit of a roller coaster season for Chelsea. It's been a mad season, and this is the 5 things that I think Chelsea have learned throughout the last 12 months. Number 1, the youngsters can compete for starting positions. The youngsters have been great this year, to be fair to them. Some better than others. For me, I would personally say Mason Mount's been arguably one of the best players we've had all season. Not only young player, but all players. Tammy was in a Golden Boot race for the first half of the season, which is absolutely incredible given it's his first proper year at Chelsea. Unfortunately, it slowed up after a while with injuries and such like that, but of course those kind of things happen. The point is that he was still in the Golden Boot race, which is absolutely incredible and definitely should be commended. Reece James is making a massive impact on the team. Not quite starting material yet for me, but he's definitely showing signs of what he's going to have in a few years. He probably needs another year behind Aspi for me, but at some point next season, or maybe the year after, he's going to break into that first team and we're never going to look back. He's been quality, and also as well, you can't forget his goal against Ajax. Just saying. Tomori has also shown what he can do. He's been very good for Chelsea when he's been given the opportunity. I don't know what's happened with him. People are saying he's been injured or whatever. He's fallen out of favour. I'm not too sure. But definitely what I saw against Wolves in that incredible strike, maybe it's a little bit of luck, but still the confidence to take it on from there is absolutely incredible. And the way he played against Ajax in particular, he deserves to be part of the future for Chelsea, 1,000,000%. There is also 2 other youngsters you do have to think about as well. I'm going to leave Ruben Loftus-Cheek out of this because he kind of is a bit more established, but 2 other academy graduates that we've had, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Billy Gilmour. Callum Hudson-Odoi hasn't really flourished the way that we think he possibly could. Obviously injuries have been a massive problem for him, but Billy Gilmour showed real signs of what he can do, and he's definitely going to be part of the Chelsea team going forward. Unfortunately, obviously got injured towards the end of the season, which is absolutely gutting, but still the signs are there, and he's definitely going to be one hell of a player for Chelsea. The pace, the flair, the goal threat, the passion, the hard work that the youngsters are bringing to the team has to be commended. It's definitely going to be a part of Chelsea for years to come. Not saying they instantly walk into the team next season, they still have to prove themselves again, but they are showing the signs that they're going to do it. I'm very impressed by the youngsters this season. Well done, lads. Moving into the second thing now, which is Frank Lampard definitely being the right man for the job. We all know about Frank's IQ. He is a very intelligent man, and he's definitely showing that on the touchline. The way also he's handled himself in interviews as well, he's been a perfect manager for me. I am a big fan of Frank. You can see also as well after the drinks breaks, especially in the last few weeks, and also after half time when Chelsea haven't been playing as well as we probably would like, there's definitely an injection of life, and that has to come from Frank. I'm pretty sure it is. The coaching staff as a whole are doing a brilliant job. Frank has managed to do something that I think a lot of Chelsea fans didn't think was possible, which was guide this young team into the top 4, obviously after losing Eden Hazard and having the likes of Kante out all season. He's done a fantastic job. Give him a little bit of money to spend and we're going to do bits. Frank is definitely the man. Now we move on to number 3. Sadly, this is a bit unfortunate, but injuries are still a massive problem for Chelsea. There's been a lot of hard work that's gone into getting top 4. Again, there's been a lot of hard work that's gone into getting top 4, and let's be real with ourselves, start of the season I don't think anyone really had Chelsea finish inside the top 4. I know for a fact I didn't. The effort to get Chelsea into the top 4 has been absolutely insane, something I'm very proud of as a Chelsea fan, but it does take its toll. Pulisic out for ages, Loftus-Cheek out for ages, Callum Hudson-Odoi out for ages, Billy Gilmour's been injured, Pedro's now injured, obviously he's moving on, Azpilicueta, Pulisic again, I could go on forever. There's been a lot of injury problems for Chelsea all season along, and one of the most important ones for me is Tammy getting injured just around Christmas, and he never quite hit that goal scoring form again. The squad depth that we got at Chelsea is good, but it does need to be a higher quality, because unfortunately we have to be real with ourselves, Chelsea fans. We did drop points when certain of these key players were missing. Kante in the team compared to Kante out of the team is two different sides completely. And Jorginho and Kovacic, I wouldn't play it as a partnership, but with the injuries that we've got, unfortunately more recently, that's been the only partnership we've had to turn to. It's one of those things that just needs to be ironed out, and I know obviously of course it's not that easy, and with this weird season that's gone on, maybe things are a little bit better, worse, whatever. Maybe things are being ostracised, not ostracised, whatever. That's a big word that I didn't think I was going to be using today. But the point still stands. Chelsea have got injury problems, and when it comes down to it, we need to have better players to bring off the bench. We need to have more experienced and quality players to bring off the bench, because at certain times, as much as I like the likes of Callum Hudson-Odoi, when you're bringing him off the bench, he obviously did very well against Liverpool, but at other games in the FA Cup final, for example, didn't know quite what to do. It's just one of those things that needs to be ironed out for next season. Number 4, the Deadwood unfortunately needs to be moved on. Now, a lot of these guys have been good players for Chelsea in the last couple of years, but unfortunately the time has come. The way that Frank's moving and the way the youngsters are being so prominent in the team, certain individuals aren't needed anymore. I will be doing a video about Chelsea transfers in the next few days, so please do keep an eye out for that one. But you cannot ignore the fact that the likes of Batshuayi and Emerson and even Christensen or Rudiger, they need to go. Unfortunately, they need to go. We can't hang on to these people for all these years to come. Watch the video in a couple of days' time, but there is a fair few players that in the last few years have kind of coasted their way through. They're not part of Frank's ideology, and they just need to move on. They do need to move on. The money can be spent on other areas of the pitch. The likes of Batshuayi, again, I'm going to go into a full video about all the transfers in the next few days, but the likes of Batshuayi, who's currently sitting on the bench getting absolutely no game time after we signed Timo Werner, you're looking at a £25–30 million player that could go and aid on maybe going for a new goalkeeper, a new centre-half, something like that. Unfortunately, it's just time to call it quits at Chelsea for a handful of players. And my final point, this is a nice little positive one, we need experience in the team. Your big experienced players like Giroud and Azpi and even Willian in the last few weeks especially have been doing bits for Chelsea, and I'm very happy to have them in the team. Willian's unfortunately one of those ones that's going to get moved on. He wants a 3-year deal, we're not going to match it. Unfortunately, he's going to be on his way from Chelsea. But the likes of Giroud, Pedro, Willian, Azpilicueta, even Kovacic now as an experienced player has been absolutely incredible for us. We have got a young squad, we are very accepting of that, but the players that have played in these big teams know how to win. It's one of the things that Chelsea also need to bring in. Again, I'm going to go for it in the transfer video. We need to bring in that leader, because I have to say, obviously in the FA Cup final, when Azpilicueta went off, the leadership just went down. It was nothing necessarily against Jorginho, but he just didn't know how to deal with that big game atmosphere. But if you want to make those strides towards Europe's elite, which is obviously where Chelsea want to be, those kind of things need to be ironed out. It's all well and good having your youngsters in the team, but there are key players that have to be involved. There's a handful of people that do need to be included. The likes of Giroud and Azpi, both have obviously been given new contracts. They're going to be around at least for next season, probably even for longer after that as well. These are vital people. They need to be in and around the squad at the very least. It's a very exciting time to be a Chelsea fan, but you do also need the experienced heads in there as well. The youngsters and all the flair that we've got and everything I said about them, goal scoring threat, pace, power, blah blah, you still need to be able to know what to do with it. And the older players are going to be able to teach those youngsters a fair thing or two. The likes of Giroud, the likes of Azpi definitely need to stay around. It's been a great season for Chelsea, of course, with all the youngsters coming through and Frank back at the club. There's a real feel-good buzz around the club, and I'm really happy about that. It's going to take us a few years to be challenging right up the level that we want to be, but again, we are moving in the right direction, and I'm really proud of that as a Chelsea fan. The youngsters have been superb, the more experienced heads have been superb. Again, it's not a perfect season, of course, and obviously it would have been great to cap it off with the FA Cup against Arsenal, but that still doesn't take away the fact that with a squad that realistically should be looking at a top 6 finish, we've managed to get top 4, and we were in 3rd for a fair chunk of the season as well. All the people on Twitter will probably try and make out that we haven't had a good season and that Frank's a flop and blah 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 blah. Let them do it. We've had a good season, Chelsea fans, we know that. Something that we weren't expecting, but my God has it been fun. Still things to iron out, which is what hopefully we'll do over the summer and into next season as well. But from my point of view, it's been a very decent year. This has been 5 things we've learned from the Chelsea season. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new around here, make sure you like, share and subscribe. Make sure you do also smash the likes on this video. And if you do, you'll get to see more of these throughout next season and even over the summer months as well. There's loads of content coming up on the channel, so please do subscribe. Make sure you like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Up the Chelsea.